The wall just broke. Not cracked. Broke. And the person who broke it was not a reporter, not a political enemy, not a whistleblower hiding in the shadows. It was his own attorney general, under oath. In a federal courtroom. Pam Bondi, Trump's hand-picked attorney general, just confessed to carrying out his orders to destroy evidence. In doing so, she handed prosecutors exactly what they needed. Corroborated, sworn testimony from inside the president's own circle. The panic radiating from the White House tonight is not performative. It is the sound of a man who finally understands that the people he trusted most are the ones who will bring him down. To understand why today is different from every prior scandal, start with what Bondi actually said. She did not hedge, imply, or speak in lawyer's code. She admitted it directly. Under presidential instruction, she authorized the destruction of federal evidence. That is not a political accusation. That is a felony, stated plainly, sworn under oath, before a federal judge. Judge Moss had forced the moment. Bondi's legal team had argued privilege, attorney-client protection, and national security, every shield available. The judge dismantled each one. His ruling was precise. Privilege does not extend to conversations about criminal conspiracy. When Bondi took the stand, she had no cover left. Every legal exit had been sealed before she sat down. The prosecutor's question, when it arrived, was surgical. Did you, under instruction from President Trump, authorize the destruction of evidence? Her legal team erupted in objections. Alas, desperate. Judge Moss let the silence settle, then instructed Bondi to answer. She answered. Yes. The president instructed the destruction, and she carried it out. In 30 years of federal prosecutions, courtrooms have rarely heard an admission. Today they did. But the confession was only the first blow. What followed turned that courtroom moment into a complete catastrophe for the president. The prosecutor introduced the audio recording circulating in legal circles for weeks. It played in silence. Bondi was asked if she could identify the voices. She paused, and then she confirmed it. That recording captured a conversation she had with the president. In that moment, two threads locked permanently. Sworn testimony and authenticated audio now point to the same crime, the same order, and the same man. This is what prosecutors call a corroborated record. You cannot discredit both sources simultaneously without the defense collapsing. The corroboration did not stop there. Bondi's account aligned precisely with Meadows's prior testimony. Meadows described Trump ordering evidence burned. Bondi admitted to carrying it out. 2 senior officials. 2 testimonies. 1 consistent story. That is the foundation convictions are built on. Trump's response came within hours. The woman he had praised as the best attorney general in history. This is the pattern. Loyalty demanded, then the moment truth becomes costly, the loyalist. He does not defend the action. He destroys the witness. But this time, the witness had already spoken under oath. Attacking Bondi now only deepens the legal exposure. Every Truth Social post attacking her is evidence of guilt. Each social post attacking her is a piece of. Inside the West Wing, sources describe the atmosphere as controlled terror. Staff who survived every prior scandal are treating this one differently. Nung this. They are not spinning or messaging. They are waiting, because someone inside the inner circle finally told. Deputy FBI Director Dan Bonino is reportedly incandescent with rage. He is threatening to resign and go public unless Bondi. That threat is not idle. Bonino knows the operational details of the Epstein file handling. If he goes public, the exposure expands dramatically. Talking, the Epstein files are the ignition point for everything. For months, the Justice Department's official position was that that memo released in early July was intended to close. Instead, it opened a new chapter, because sources familiar. Bondi had raised this in a private briefing weeks before. She told the president that his name was among several. Being mentioned, it should be said clearly, does not indicate wrongdoing. But the response to that mention, the alleged order. Because innocent people do not order evidence destroyed. Innocent people welcome transparency. Innocent people do not instruct their attorney general to commit. Judge Moss stated from the bench that Bondi's admission alone constituted felony. His patience had finally run out. He immediately scheduled a contempt hearing for the following day. The sitting Attorney General of the United States is now The legal machinery is now beyond anyone's ability to stop. Bondi's most rational path is full, documented cooperation with prosecutors. She holds the map, every directive, every pressure campaign. She is the most valuable cooperating witness in the country. Her incentive to cooperate is survival. The alternative is a 20-year felony conviction for a crime. Like Meadows, she is calculating whether loyalty to a man who already. History suggests she will choose herself. On Capitol Hill, the word used most often in private conversations tonight is accelerant. Bondi's testimony has not started a new fire. It has poured fuel on one that was already burning. House leadership is fast-tracking impeachment articles focused on obstruction, abuse of power, and witness tampering. The vote targets January 6th. That date is not accidental. 4 years after the Capitol attack, the House is voting. The symbolism is devastating. The Senate calculation has shifted. Recent polling shows Trump's approval has cratered to 27%. P's approval has. 65% of Americans now support conviction and removal. Those numbers change the political math for every Republican senator. The political math for senators who calculated defending Trump was safe are now looking. They are deciding whether to stay aboard a sinking ship. 17 votes is still a climb, but it is no longer a fantasy. It is alive. Bondi's testimony has opened a second front, the investigation into. Her account directly corroborates Meadows' claim that Trump ordered Patel, a president instructing his FBI director to stall a federal. Patel will be subpoenaed and will face the same impossible. Based on what Bondi chose, the direction Patel may go. Self-preservation is powerful when a judge is discussing 20-year sentences. The convergence of these threads is genuinely historic. A sworn confession from a cabinet officer, corroborated by a second, supported. The national security justification was always the escape hatch. The White House tested it within hours, calling the order lawful. Judge Moss rejected that framing from the bench. National security does not authorize obstruction of justice. A president cannot invoke national security to destroy evidence in. The reasoning is straightforward. If national security could erase presidential criminal evidence. That is the line Judge Moss drew today. Trump's posts escalated through the evening, from attacking Bondi to attacking. Each post tells the same story. A man with options uses them calmly. A man without options attacks everything within reach. The velocity of tonight's posts is the behavior of someone his usual rapid response defenders in the House and Senate have. The silence from his traditional allies is its own signal. Some received private briefings on the full scope of Bondi's testimony. What they heard is apparently not something they are eager. When the people who built careers defending you go quiet, the ground has shifted. Tonight it shifted dramatically. Step back and recognize what this means structurally. A sitting attorney general admitted destroying evidence on presidential orders, something that has never happened in American history. Idents on. Not in Watergate, not in Iran-Contra, not in any prior. A sitting attorney general confessing to felony obstruction on behalf. The Constitution survived Watergate because officials chose law over loyalty. Today we learned that almost did not happen this time. The order to destroy evidence was given. The Attorney General carried it out. The only reason it is public is because of federal. The system held today by the slimmest of threads. What it tells us about what was attempted is chilling. The federal agents who spent months navigating pressure from above, watching interference. Today named it for what it is. The evidence was real. The obstruction was real. And today, all of it was confirmed by the person, the president. What happens next will unfold fast. The contempt hearing is tomorrow. Impeachment votes are being scheduled. Subpoenas for Patel are being drafted. Bondi's lawyers are already in quiet conversations with prosecutors. The dominoes are moving fast. Once a cooperating witness of Bondi's stature begins talking, she does not just know about the Epstein files. She knows every pressure campaign, every call to an agency, every moment the presidency was weaponized to protect the president. That is the testimony that changes a presidency, not one scandal, a documented pattern of abuse laid out by the person who carried it out. The next 72 hours are the most dangerous of Trump's. Legal machinery is moving faster than any prior crisis. Support is eroding faster than any prior scandal. The allies are going quiet. The Attorney General is calculating her exit. The FBI Deputy Director is threatening to go public. The judge has scheduled a contempt hearing. And somewhere in the silence between the Truth Social posts, the person he trusted to keep the secret has told it, not to a journalist, not in a leak. Under oath, in court, with authenticated recording, before a federal judge who declared it a felony. The walls are not closing in anymore. They closed, and Donald Trump is now trapped inside them with the sworn truth of his own attorney general. History will record today as the day the denial ended, not with allegation or speculation, but with confession. The question in legal circles is not whether obstruction occurred. The question is how far up the chain of command it went. Bondi did not act alone. Every instruction she received, every directive she followed, every call she made. The Epstein case was never just about Epstein. It was always about powerful figures who feared the files and what they would reveal. Today we learned those lengths included ordering the nation's top law enforcement. The scope of that decision is staggering. Inside federal agencies tonight, sources describe grim vindication. Agents who watched investigations slow-walked and pressure applied from above now have. That vindication matters. The accounts they gave, the complaints they filed, the risks they took. The Supreme Court is the next battlefield. Scheduled to hear the self-pardon question, it will do so in a political environment transformed by today's confession. A president who ordered evidence destroyed is poorly positioned to argue before. The timing could not be worse. International reaction has been immediate. Allied governments that privately worried about American rule of law. America's credibility as a law-governed nation is now at stake. Today's testimony either reinforces or undermines it, depending on what follows. On what? What Senate Republicans do next is the most consequential political. 17 is a specific countable number, not a metaphor. Some of those 17 are already in conversations with colleagues. The content of those conversations, happening right now in private. Trump's lawyers are tonight attempting to construct an emergency appeal. Legal analysts give that challenge almost no chance of success. The judge's ruling came after full briefing and argument. The appellate standard for overturning evidentiary rulings is extremely high. This Hail Mary will almost certainly fail. After the appeal fails, Bondi's counsel will advise her that cooperation is. That advice is being given today or tomorrow. The moment Bondi enters a formal cooperation agreement, the investigation transforms. It expands from one target to a full map of an enterprise. NST one person too. That map includes names, dates, calls, meetings, the full architecture of. It will be detailed and damning. The White House version, witch hunt, pressured witness, manipulated recording, requires the public to disbelieve a federal judge, sworn testimony, and authenticated audio simultaneously. That is too much to ask of a public that. Today they heard the truth from inside. The panic at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue tonight confirms it. Stay with us. What comes next will move fast.